What is a missionary? Please leave behind all your preconceived ideas about what missionaries are. You may come to find that you are one. The Apostle Paul refers to mission work as an ambition and striving. The definition of ambition is a strong desire to do or achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. The definition of strive is to make great efforts to achieve or obtain something. In Christian circles, these terms are negative. However, if we take them from the standpoint that Christ is in us, giving us a strong desire and the strength and everything that we need, these terms could be considered positive. Paul says in the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 20, "It has always been my ambition to preach the gospel where Christ was not known, so that I would not be building on someone else's foundation." You should read verse 21 too. The term missionary doesn't appear in the Bible. It is a term Christians use, but was actually derived from the military. They used the term missions. The definition of mission is a specific task with which a person or a group is charged. A military, naval, or aerospace task, or a bombing mission, or a space mission. These are the definitions used in those areas. However, the mission of God, or the Great Commission of Jesus Christ, is to preach the gospel to all the ethnos and to make disciples among them. This requires that we go where it has not been preached yet. It does not make any sense to keep preaching the gospel to the ethnos that already have heard, especially when there are so many that have not yet to hear. Does it make any sense that thousands and thousands of Christians are staying home in places oversaturated with the gospel when there are so many places where there are no Christians at all? 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 15 through 16 says, "Our hope is that your faith continues to grow. Our area of activity among you will greatly expand so that we can preach the gospel in the regions beyond you." Missionary, in the truest sense of the word, is just a Christian. If you know it or not, when you became a Christian, you were charged with a specific task. The Christian's task is to extend the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's to take the message into parts of the world where people do not have access to it. The Christian's job is to make other Christians. Bakers bake, fishermen fish, potters make pots. Christians make other Christians. It's to take his message into parts of the world where people do not have access to it. When my wife and I teach young people about missions, we always emphasize that they are just Christians that go where there are no other Christians. Unreached peoples are situated away from other Christians who can disciple them. Enter the missionary. Many of them are so remote that they are in total darkness. There is no light around because there is no missionary around. Jesus is the light and he is in you. And the nature of that light is to shine into darkness. So naturally, a Christian wants to go, unless the mechanism is slowly putting out the flame. John chapter 1 verse 4 says, "In him was life, and that life was the light of men. Cross-cultural missionary is a term commonly used to refer to a person who goes to another culture. Cross-cultural missionaries are simply ordinary Christians who are extending God's light into areas where it does not exist. They just happen to be in other cultures. It is incorrect to believe that a missionary who goes into another culture is somehow special. Christians will have to go into other cultures. That's just where the darkness is. Business people and military people do it all the time, and we don't consider them special because they go into other cultures or into other countries. Culture is simply something that has to be crossed and adjusted to. It's not a huge deal, really. Many people do it for many reasons. There's a massive move across the world even now of people who are migrating. Going into another culture does not require a definite call. It requires an action of obedience to the written Word of God. If we have to go into other cultures to be able to take the gospel to them, it's just what it is. It's not special, it's not a call, it's just something that has to be done. They are in darkness and we are in light. God cares not that their culture is different than ours. He cares not that we have to cross a barrier. He cares not that the mission is transcultural. All Christians are obligated as ones with light to go where there is no light. This happens to be into other cultures. The following is a statement from the former U.S. Center for World Mission, now called Frontier Ventures. Some unreached peoples are also unengaged, meaning there are no believers even trying to reach them. Unless a group of believers chooses to engage them, they may never have the opportunity to hear the good news. Identifying, much less crossing, cultural and spiritual barriers to find redemptive bridges is an extraordinary challenge, and one of the main reasons that thousands of people groups remain unreached and many of these unengaged. Notice that they did not use the word missionary or missions. Instead, they used the word believers. They also used the word choosing. Unless a group of believers chooses to engage them. It is common to hear, but there are so many unsaved people right here where we live. Yes, this is true. But there are so many Christians right here in your local congregations who are never ever going anywhere outside their culture. They could certainly stay and evangelize those people who are here who are unsaved, freeing you up to go. Most importantly, all the unsaved people living right here have much access to the gospel. It's everywhere they turn. It's on every other television station. It's in every other bookstore. And many, many Christians are around them and could be sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with them. The entire Bible is full of God's plan to bring Christ's message to all the ethnos. It also speaks much of His return and the end of this material world. It is not a missionary call, it's a mandate for the entire body of Jesus Christ. Every Christian has been tasked. Every Christian has the light. Every Christian is a missionary. I'd like to read some passages to you. There are several of them here. I'm going to read from the New International Version of the Bible. I'll give you some space so that you can turn to these passages. they are important. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Genesis chapter 11, verse 7 through 9. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so that they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. This is why it is called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. The Lord had said to Abram, Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation and will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you. Psalms chapter 67, verses 1 through 3. For the director of music, with stringed instruments, a psalm, a song. May God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face shine upon us. Selah. That your ways may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. May the peoples praise you, O God. May all the peoples praise you. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 6. He says, It is too small a thing for you to be my servant, to restore the tribes of Jacob and bring back those of Israel I have kept. I will also make you a light for the Gentiles, that you may bring my salvation to the ends of the earth. Mark chapter 16, verse 15. And he said to them, Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation. Revelation chapter 7, verses 9 through 10. After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, and language, standing there before the throne and in front of the Lamb. They were wearing white robes, holding palm branches in their hands. And they cried out in a loud voice, Salvation belongs to our God, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb. There are thousands of you out there who are looking for the truth. You're looking for the message. You're looking for the real truth of Christianity. You're desiring deep down inside that something in the New Testament is there for you. I guarantee you Jesus Christ has the answers for you. I guarantee you that to be involved in what God is doing in this world is really what will motivate you to be in the Christian life, in the Christian walk, following Christ wherever He may lead. Much of the missionary focus in the UPG movements and the unreached people group movements right now are on massive people groups over 1 million in population. If you're looking for the truth of where the gospel has never been taken before, look to people groups below 25,000 in population, below 10,000 in population, even below 5,000 in population. Some missionary efforts won't even translate a Bible in a people group below 3,500 in population. If you were a pastor that had a church of 3,500 people in it, you would be considered a mega pastor. This is a lot of people in the room if you're preaching to that size of a group. These smaller groups are the ones that are the most remote, the most cut off from the access of the gospel. These are the ones that need cross-cultural missionaries with some training on how to get resources into their language. I'm not necessarily talking about a printed full Bible, but the message of Jesus Christ has to be communicated to them in their languages. This is a time-consuming, slow effort. This cannot be done fast. Most missionaries come home between 4 and 6 years after being on the field. This is not enough time to reach a totally unreached people group with no scriptures in their language. If you're going to dedicate your life to Jesus Christ and to going into the darkness, this is going to be a lifetime effort for you. This is not something that we can do and get it over with fast and retire and come home. This has to be done over a slow discipleship process, learning the language of the people and learning their culture and communicating this message to them in a relevant way that they can understand.